So we have gotten a lot of new subscribers to our channel in the last year, and we get a lot of comments from people who are new to keto stating that they must be doing something wrong and they must be making mistakes because they're not losing weight as fast as they should. So in this video, we're going to go over the mistakes that we see people making on their keto weight loss journey, and we know this from personal experience. Now, this is not an all-encompassing list. I'm sure there are plenty more mistakes that people are making. So if you guys have any that you would like to add, leave us a comment below. So the first mistake that we see people make all the time is that they are trying to replace every food that they can with a keto-fied version. So Sarah and I have been overweight or obese most of our lives, but we have been trying keto for decades, trying to lose weight. And we believe that you can get the most results on keto if you stick to simple foods. When Sarah and I discovered keto way back when, there was not as many replacements for everything as there is today, and we lost weight a lot faster. There was many different ways that we started keto. We would just eat meat and veggies and butter and kept it very simple. We would be the most successful. There were other times though that we sprung for a lot of new products and chip replacements and bread replacements to fill like the need of like these carb-filled foods that we were addicted to, and we were never as successful as when we kept it simple. You're never really going to replace that favorite food of yours with a keto-fied version. I feel like we've gotten really close sometimes with recipes on this channel, especially since we've been on it for such a long time, but there's always those comments where like, this tasted nothing like the French fry that I had last week. There's a reason why that food was addictive, and you're probably not going to be able to fully replace it while you're on the keto lifestyle, and that's okay. You might see on our channel that we create a lot of things that are like keto hacks and things like that, but we are closer to maintenance. I would say if you're new to keto, keep it simple. We often say 70-30. We eat 70% a cleaner, simple veg, protein, and fat, and then 30% of the time can be your treats. Another reason why you might not be losing as fast as you could be if you ate simply is because a lot of these replacements are super high in fat and super high in calories and kind of high on carbs. I mean, just because something says it's keto technically doesn't mean that it's not on the high end of the carb scale. There's lots of different ways to do keto. Sarah and I call ourselves technically keto. There's clean keto, strict keto, lazy keto, and dirty keto. And people who are on strict keto, they count every single carb and everything like that. If you are lazy in that you don't want to track anything, if you stick to whole foods, you don't really have to, and you will get the same result, in my opinion. So if you're not losing weight, doing what you're doing, you do have to change something, and that might be for a little while. Just eliminate all of the extras out of your diet and just eat simply to see if the scale starts moving again. That's probably what's slowing you down, especially in the beginning, because in the beginning, it should be the easiest time for you to lose weight. Like once you lose 50 pounds, it gets harder and harder. So if you're already really, really slow, I don't mean like, oh, I'm only losing 2 pounds a week. That's fast. I mean, you haven't lost weight in weeks. It's time to dial back in what you're doing and simplify it as much as possible and eat as plainly as possible to see if the scale starts moving again. And if you're looking for a foolproof way to eat keto and keep it delicious and simple, then you should check out Factor, who is the sponsor of this video. Factor reached out to us maybe mid last year and asked if we wanted to try their keto-friendly meals. And a lot of people promise things to us and want to send us things, and a lot of time we are underwhelmed. And so we said, fine, sure, send us the meals and we'll give them a try. We were blown away when we tried them, and our lives since that point have not been the same, because every week Factor delivers fresh made keto-friendly meals to our door, and all we have to do is put them in the microwave. I have to commute sometimes 2 hours to the office during the week, and I love coming home and simply popping one of these meals in my microwave and enjoying it 3 minutes later. You don't have to go grocery shopping, you don't have to prepare the food. The only meal prep you really have is going online and searching for the meals that you want for the next week. And they have all of the nutritional information on the back. They also have add-ons that you could add to your box for the week, like keto truffles that are absolutely delicious.
They are.
Keto-friendly shakes. Desserts like keto cheesecakes. They even have proteins that you can add on, like shrimp, chicken breast, and steak. So if you're ready to try Factor, you can try it for as low as $6.19 per meal by using our link in the description or code KETO120 to get $120 off your first 5 weeks. So the next mistake that we see people making often is that they are eating too much. I think there's a misconception in the keto world, especially for newbies, that keto is a free-for-all as long as you don't eat carbs. And that's kind of like a play on psychology, in my opinion, because it's kind of true. but only because the food is supposed to fill you up faster. When you switch from eating a carb-filled diet into eating a diet that's made up of a lot of fat, it's supposed to satiate you for longer. But people take this as they can eat as much as they want all the time, and that's simply not the case. But it may be the case in the beginning, but in reality, you are actually eating less than you were before. You just think that you're eating more. And that's because protein and fat fill you up in a different way. You feel satiated. It communicates with your brain, and your brain says, I'm done now, and you stay fuller for longer. In reality, you're eating less than you were before. So don't think that keto is a free-for-all, and you might have gotten away with things in the beginning of keto that you're no longer getting away with now, and so you may have to adjust how much you're eating. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to count everything, but you have to be more conscious of what you're eating. And instead of saying, okay, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter on this, I may only add 1. Or I won't eat the second helping. Or I will wait 10 minutes after I eat and make sure that I want the second helping before I go back for the second helping. I have done that so many times where my eyes have been bigger than my stomach. And I used to operate in a way that I was always thinking about the next plate. I was never even thinking about the first plate. I was thinking what I was going to get on round 2 while I was filling up the plate for round 1. Yeah. And now I will always say, okay, wait a couple minutes, and then if you want to eat more keto food, wait that time and then go back. But a lot of the time, you end up not wanting to eat anymore. So that's one of the mistakes that we see people making, is that they are eating too much. It should be fairly easy for you to lose weight, especially in the beginning. This is especially true if you're not eating protein, veg, and fat. If you're trying to eat those keto-fied foods and then you're adding in these other options, you probably are eating too much. I heard somewhere that legally, companies are allowed to be 20% off on the nutritional value of foods. And when you're trying to stay under 20 net carbs a day, 20% adds up. And for us, we're closer to our goal weight. Emily and I have lost over 160 pounds, and every calorie and carb counts when you're down near your goal weight. So Emily and I drink a ton of coffee, and we used to put heavy whipping cream in there. Did I ever think about measuring it? No. But when I drink 10 cups of coffee and it all has heavy whipping cream in there, that's like 1,000 calories, and that's about 10 to 12 carbs just in the coffee intake. I'm working on cutting back. I'm drinking decaf more. Needless to say, you're probably eating too much if you're not losing weight. By the way, if you're losing weight, any type of weight, don't change anything until you stop. Yeah. And I don't mean, I haven't lost weight in a day. I haven't lost weight in a week. If you haven't lost weight in like a month or a month and a half, then that's the time where you switch it up. If you're losing weight, don't worry about this right now. Anyway, because your body will adjust, and that's when you're going to have to take a closer look at everything that you're eating. So the next mistake we see a lot is that people are eating way too much fat. It goes along with eating too much, but people are trying to add fat into their diet. Like they adding think that butter. Adding fat is going to make them lose weight. Yeah, and that's not true. Fat is a tool that you can use in order to keep yourself satiated for longer so that you eat less during that time. If you're not hungry, don't add butter to your coffee. Fat is a tool. If you don't need that tool, don't use it. Right. I don't know. Keep it in your toolbox. Well, we get a lot of questions about, how much bulletproof coffee that we drink. And honestly, I don't drink it because I can't afford the calories. It's a lot of calories. And yeah, it might help with my brain function or whatever, but I can't afford to be drinking butter in my coffee. Are you kidding me? And you also want your body to be using your own fat for fuel. If you put too much fat in there, it's never going to tap into your fat stores. Right. I mean, I'm not a doctor. We are not doctors. But we just think that that's the truth. If you have fat, you're eating it and consuming it, how will you ever burn the fat that you have on your body? This is the time when the animals infiltrate. Come on, Ned. The next mistake that we see people making is having unrealistic expectations as to how this is going to go, because you go on the internet and you start to see all these before and after pictures of people who say that they've lost 12 pounds in a week on keto and you only lost 5 or you only lost 2. Stop having unrealistic expectations to how this is going to go. And if you only lost 2 pounds in 2 weeks, it's better than gaining 2 pounds in 2 weeks, because that's what you were doing before you came onto this lifestyle. Sarah and I, we didn't gain the weight that fast. We got a lot of food fun in that time, man. I would gain like maybe a pound a week, a pound and a half a week. The weight did not come on fast. You might think that, but think over the years. Look at a picture of you over the last 10 years and see how the weight came on. There were probably phases where you didn't gain anything. You stayed the same weight. I mean, I would gain maybe a pound a week, If that, that's 4 pounds a month. You have to be ready to lose it at the same rate. I know that you feel like you're sacrificing so much to be on this lifestyle, right? Like you are thinking about what you're consuming, and so time is moving by slower, and you are putting so much effort. But it's better than gaining constantly, and you have to have more realistic expectations to how this is going to go. It's possible that this could take years. And so when people come into our comment section and they say, I only lost 2 pounds in the last 2 weeks, that's a good thing. Losing weight, even if it's slow, is not a problem. You are losing weight instead of gaining it.
There's also the compounding effect that happens. You know, you might only lose 1 pound. 1 pound starts adding up. And eventually, when you get smaller, every pound counts for more.
Right.
Like 1 pound when you're 400 pounds looks very different to someone that loses 1 pound and they're 150 pounds. We've talked about this on our channel, but there are other benefits doing keto other than weight loss. We talk about clarity of mind, skin improvements, inflammation, all of these things that you can expect to experience if you stay on keto for the long term. Emily and I have been on keto for almost 3 years, and we experience these things. It's not going to be like you're on keto 1 week, you're off the next week, and then you're back on. You're not going to experience those long-term effects, but these are other things that help us stay motivated to keep going.
So the last point that we'll talk about here is the one that's the most obvious, but it's the hardest one to talk about because people don't want to believe that they're going to have to change forever. And that is that keto is a lifestyle and not a diet. And it's really hard for people to accept because they come onto this all gung-ho and excited to lose weight, and they might stick on it for a month or 2 or 5. But in the end, a lot of people, they go, well, when I go off, I will be able to control myself. And if that were the case, then you would not have ended up obese in the first place. Sarah and I have gained hundreds of pounds over the last 20 years and lost hundreds of pounds. I mean, we could easily be 500 pounds heavier because we always thought of this as a temporary thing and that we were going to magically keep it off when we were done. And guess what? We could never. And it was only until we had that moment, the aha moment of, I feel a lot better, actually, when I eat this way. And I don't really feel good when I have carbs, and I don't want to be obese. I guess I'm going to have to be this way forever. That's hard, but it's the reason why Sarah and I have been the most successful this time out of any time that we've ever done keto. We are more than 3 years into this now. And the last attempts that we did on keto, we would have gained it all back already. That doesn't mean that you can never go off. Keto is always going to be your baseline. It's always going to be the thing that you go back to. If you see yourself falling off for weeks or months at a time, then you're not ready to go off at all. You really aren't. Because you're just going to go off the deep end. You're going to gain back everything and more. If you do any diet, it doesn't matter what. You could become vegan. You could do Mediterranean, paleo, whatever. A lot of these are successful, sure. We believe that keto is the way that we should be eating just because it's mainly based around whole foods. But if we go back to the way that we were eating before, it doesn't matter what. You will gain it back and more because mentally you are a binge eater. And so am I. And it's really hard to binge on steak and broccoli. It literally does not happen because your body knows what it is. It does not know what an Entenmann's coffee cake is. That's why Sarah and I were literally able to eat an entire one in a sitting. You know how you cut a little segment off, like a long piece, on a little tiny plate? Sarah and I could polish one off. We would go to the grocery store and be like, coffee cake for you?
Why do I remember that? Why do I remember that specific moment where we went
somewhere
place and we were like, oh my God, a
coffee cake.
Yes.
Like, ooh, we're discovering it for the first time. Like, we've never had it before. And we bought an entire long one, like a one that you bring to like a luncheon, you know? We brought it home, we started brewing the coffee, and we just
It wasn't even a special day or anything.
It wasn't. It was not a special day. We were just chilling, and we were drinking coffee, and we thought, hey, a cake is appropriate. An entire cake.
And then we're like, where did the cake go? There's no end there. If you're a binge eater and you can't go back on immediately after you have like a carb-filled meal,
you are not ready. So anyway, it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. We will say this until the cows come home. We say it 500 times a day.
It's the most important part, though.
It's the most important part because losing weight is only one half of the battle. You're going to live way longer, hopefully. And so you will have to eat this way forever. That's why most of the people are not successful on a weight loss journey because the journey never truly ends. It's forever. And we will have to be dealing with the repercussions of binge eating for the rest of our lives. It's not like it just goes away. So think of this as a lifestyle, and then you can move on from that point and you can be successful.
So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give this video a like. It does help us out with the YouTube algorithm so that more people will see our videos. And don't forget to subscribe for more keto lifestyle content.
And if you want to hear us talking about other keto topics, you can click on the video on the screen and we'll see you over there. Anyway, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Keto Twins signing out. And this is Henry.